China can be translated loosely as controlling the opponent, attacking their weaknesses. Control is established through grabbing and restraining your opponent. Once you take control, you create an opening through which you can attack. The individual character for Qin literally means grab. In a martial context, Qin has a deeper meaning, defined as control with a light force. Na can be loosely defined as grabbing with increased power. These techniques attack the joints, muscles, tendons, and pressure points. Fundamentally, both Qin and Na actions require a strong grip with flexible wrists and fingers. None of these skills can be effective if you cannot grab your opponent. The following exercises are designed to improve your grip strength so you can inflict penetrating damage with your fingertips. Many of these methods have been passed down through generations of Kung Fu masters and are well known within martial circles. These methods have traditional names and unique histories. Most importantly, these methods are effective, which allow them to stand the test of time. However, just knowing these techniques will not improve your level of skill. It is only through daily practice that any success will be gained. As with any physical exercise, proper warm-up is critical. This videotape will begin with a short review of some of the warm-up exercises from the first videotape in this series entitled Grappling. Warm up your body by circling your upper torso while keeping your hips still, then circling your hips, keeping your head still. Circle your wrists, then stretch them up and down. Stretch your fingers and thumb. Stretch your wrist with your palms facing out and in. Use a baton to stretch your wrist. Notice that both thumbs point the same direction for this stretch. In the hard styles of the martial arts, much time and energy is spent conditioning the extremities of the body. In Qina, this conditioning is focused on the hands. Conditioning the hands is like forging the steel of a sword. Hardness must be balanced with flexibility. Hardness is required for striking to inflict damage. Flexibility means versatility, allowing you more freedom to react to your opponent. The more flexible you are, the more you can do. Your hand becomes your sword. In Qina, grip strength is crucial. The grip in Qina focuses power into the fingertips. Each finger must be pointed like a sword tip. This can make the difference between a grip that holds someone versus a grip that hurts someone. The grip alone should be powerful and pointed enough to inflict pain, even without the Qina technique. Alternate between relaxing your fingers, then bringing your power to your fingertips. Although this is a small motion, use dynamic tension to focus all of your power into the tips of your fingertips. Stand with your knees bent, twice your shoulder distance apart, in what is known as a horse stance. This is the fundamental training stance in Kung Fu. Draw your rear hand back near your shoulder and relax your fingertips. Your elbow raises as you draw back. Squeeze down on your grip as you bring your hand forward. Your elbow sinks as you squeeze, giving this motion a slight twisting action. Your back hand should relax and squeeze together with your front hand. Focus all of your power into your fingertips. Alternate your front hand between right and left. In this technique, the hand movements are the same as the previous technique. With both legs slightly bent, lift your leg that is opposite of your forward hand. Angle the heel of your foot so that it is prepared to stomp down on an opponent's knee. Relax and extend your fingertips completely as you withdraw, then slowly curl your fingertips in as you extend. Concentrate your power into the tips of your fingers and thumb. Alternate between your right and left side. Penetrating power in the fingertips can be applied in any Na attack. First, in the Qin stage, the attacker's wrist is grabbed. Then, in the Na stage, the fingertips are used to attack vulnerable areas. This first attack uses the Qizi and the Cizi pressure points. The second separates the triceps muscles. And the third separates the external oblique muscles. Refer to Tape 3, Pressure Point Attacks, for further details on these techniques. These exercises are extracted from a collection of traditional methods that descend from the Shaolin Temple School of Kung Fu, known as the 72 Secret Arts of Shaolin. The term arts is a translation of the character gong, just as in Kung Fu, which could also be translated as skill or work. This small sample of these arts focuses on the ones that are commonly associated with Shina. This method involves tossing and catching weight-filled bags. Begin with a 3-pound for solitary training and a 15-pound bag for partner training. On regular intervals, these bags should be increased in weight, about a pound at a time. Do not be overly ambitious. This is more difficult than it may seem. Working a bag that is too heavy can increase your likelihood of injury. The intention of all these methods is to progress steadily and gradually. Ultimately, the bag should weigh the same as a large man, about 200 pounds. However, today people seem seldom to achieve this level of skill. These bags are the same as the ones used for iron palm training, since both programs are for conditioning the hands. Begin with a bag filled with mung beans. Mung beans are used as a medicinal herb to help condition the skin. As these beans crumble, their dust penetrates the bag and your skin. Progress to a bag filled with sand or very small gravel, working towards a bag filled with iron shot. This iron shot must not be chrome steel or stainless steel, since both are considered toxic in this form of training. Grab the bag tightly, curling your fingertips in as to make a fist. Your palm faces the floor. Flip the bag up and down using only your wrist. Flip your wrist back and turn your forearm over so that your palm faces up after each rotation. Flip the bag over in both directions. Turn your fist so that your palm faces to the side. Flip the bag up and down using only your wrist, just like the first method. Stand in a horse stance. Toss the bag above your head and catch it with alternating hands. Toss the bag so that it travels straight up and down on your center line. Catch the bag, gripping tightly with your fingertips each time. Keep your free hand by your waist in a claw with your fingers pointed down. Absorb the momentum with the catch so as not to strain your wrist. Stand in a horse stance. Toss the bag above your head and catch it with alternating hands. In this variation, spin the bag to the side as you toss it. Spin it by turning your little finger up and your thumb down. As you catch the bag, absorb the spin with your arm, turning it slightly so as not to bring it to a jarring stop. Make your grip tight and solid, yet yield with your arm so as not to strain your wrist. Stand in a horse stance. Toss the bag above your head and catch it with alternating hands. Flip your wrist back to spin the bag front to back with each toss. Toss the bag so it travels straight up and down your center line. Throughout all of these exercises, do not rise up out of the horse stance. Stand in a horse stance. Alternate tossing the bag from side to side as in the second exercise, with tossing the bag over your shoulder from behind your back. Alternate sides for the behind the back toss. In all of these catching drills, aim for the center of the bag. Catching it by the edge will make it more difficult without adding anything to your training. For the partner drills, stand about 2 to 3 yards apart. stand in a horse stance facing each other. Using both hands, toss the bag back and forth. Catch the bag with your fingertips pointed forward and your hands in a claw-like position. Absorb the momentum of the bag by letting it swing between your legs. Lift the bag, then push it forward to toss it. Be aware of your partner's state of readiness and fatigue. You do not want to endanger your partner's safety. For all of these drills, be sure that your fingernails are trimmed appropriately. Long nails will tend to split during this type of practice. However, if you cut your nails too short, the tender exposed skin will be easily aggravated. In this variation, toss and catch the bag with your higher hand at head height and your lower hand covering the middle of your chest. Absorb the momentum of the bag by letting it swing to the side of your lower hand. Alternate swinging the bag on your left and right sides. Use your entire upper body to absorb the momentum while keeping your horse stance locked. In this variation, absorb the momentum of the bag as in the previous method, adding a small step back with each catch. Step back with your leg that is on the same side that you catch the bag. Step forward as you toss the bag, pivoting on your front leg. Begin by alternating on your left and right sides. You may also feel for the momentum of the bag and turn to whichever side is most appropriate. In ancient China, weights were carved from stone. A common type of weight used for Qinghua training was a conical stone known as a qigu. The term qigu is derived from a conical-shaped vegetable root that is grown in marshy terrain along with the lotus. Only the top of this vegetable was exposed above the marsh. Plucking it from the mud took considerable effort since you could only grip the top and the root flared beneath the surface of the marsh. This method is known as lifting up 1,000 caddies. A caddy is a Chinese unit of measurement roughly equivalent to 1 1/3 pounds. The 1,000 is metaphoric for great weight, since no one is really expected to lift 1,300 pounds. To grip the qigu, use your fingertips. Be sure to leave a gap between your palm and the top of the qigu. Place your fingers and thumb evenly around the top of the qigu. Keep your wrists straight. Begin in a forward stance. Your front knee is bent and your rear knee is straight. This is known as a bow and arrow stance. Lift the qigu with your fingers while keeping your arms straight. Using your stance, shift to horse stance to another bow and arrow stance on the other side. Always keep your knees bent so that the level of your hips remains the same. Pivot on the heels of your feet. Alternate moving the qigu from side to side. Take turns using both arms. Keep your free hand on your hip. The top of the qigu should be smooth so that there are no purchases for your fingertips. The average weight of a beginning qigu was about 20 pounds. Practitioners would progress to larger and larger stones to increase their skill. Some stones would weigh over 100 pounds. One common exercise was to leave a qigu on one side of a training area in a martial arts school. Whenever any student crossed this area, he or she would have to carry the qigu across to the other side, gripping it in this manner. Each day that a student trained, they would have to carry in and out. Slowly, through this daily ritual practice, they would develop more strength in their grip. Today, stonecutters specialize in cornerstones and gravestones. It may be difficult to get one to cut a qigu. Some modern practitioners will cast a conical shape out of cement or plaster. Others have carved a prop out of wood and filled it with lead. As a simple low-cost alternative, a wide strong pipe made of metal or PVC can be filled with sand or lead weights. In this manner, it is easy to adjust the weight of the prop merely by unscrewing the pipe and adding more weight. While the top of this prop is not tapered, it is still smooth and will provide an equivalent challenge. Lift this weight in the same manner as you would at Shigu. Place your fingertips on the very edge of the top so that your thumb and fingers completely encircle the rim. Keep your arms and wrists straight. Stand in a horse stance. Lift 2 weights, one in each arm. Extend both arms directly in front of your shoulders, keeping your arms and wrists straight. Alternate raising and lowering your arms. Raise your hands to face level and sink them to hip level. Move slowly and at a constant rate of speed. Keeping both arms horizontal, spread your arms to the sides, then bring them back in front of your shoulders. Keep your gaze fixed straight ahead. Spread your arms to such a width that you can just barely see them out of your peripheral vision as you stare straight ahead. Move slowly and at a constant rate of speed. Keeping both arms directly in front of your shoulders, turn from your waist to face the right and left. Your upper body stays locked. All of the rotation comes from your waist and legs. Turn your gaze with your body. With your hands directly in front of your shoulders, tilt the bottoms of the weights forward and up using your wrists alone. Keep your arms as straight as possible. Move slowly and methodically. Keeping your hands directly in front of your shoulders, tilt the bottoms of the weights to the sides and up. Keep the rest of your body stationary. A similar training method involves lifting a jar. According to legend, one of the first training methods at Shaolin Temple was to carry water in a jar from the stream up the mountain and to the temple. Each jar had a pointed bottom so that it could not be set down without tipping over. Furthermore, there was a small hole in this point so the water would leak out if the monk initiate did not move fast enough. Any small-mouthed jar will be sufficient for training. Make sure that the mouth is small enough that you can pick it up by the rim with your fingers. A weight-filled pipe with a rim can also be used. While filling a jar with water may be traditional, it's much easier to fill it with sand, lead weights, or iron shot since it does not evaporate. Just like the Chigu, 20 pounds is a good starting weight. As you progress, you should slowly increase this weight a pound at a time. Here, the practitioner is gripping the jar by wrapping his thumb around the rim of the jar. The palm is flush against the jar's mouth. This is the incorrect method since it does not work the fingertips properly. Here, only the fingertips touch the rim of the jar. The fingers are curled and the palm is above the mouth of the jar. All of your fingers squeeze in as if to meet in the center. Stand in a horse stance. Grasp the mouth of the jar by the rim and raise it to shoulder height. Keep your arms straight. Tilt the bottom of the jar forward and up using only your wrist. Alternate hands. The eagle claw power arts and lifting up 1,000 caddies are similar exercises. The main difference is the type of purchase for your fingertips. The Chigu uses a smooth cone while the mouth of the jar has a rim. This is one of the most universal training methods for building wrist strength and power in the grip. Both Western and Eastern disciplines have some version of this technique. Some believe this method originated from the daily practice of drawing water from a well. Although any type of weight can be used, the traditional Chinese method uses a ceramic pot. This could be filled with water, sand, or metal weights, which are to be increased in small increments. This jar is attached to a tether connected to a wide dowel. If the pot does not have handles, it can be connected to the tether with a strong metal bar that can be inserted sideways. You may begin with an empty jar, but most begin at about 10 pounds of weight. Stand in a horse stance. Extend your arms at shoulder height and roll the dowel to wind the tether around and lift the pot. Wide handles with thin central dowel make this exercise more challenging. Keep your arms horizontal and your knees bent. Move slowly and methodically so as not to cause the pot to swing side to side. After raising the jar up, lower it in the same manner. As in the previous exercises, a wide, strong pipe can be used as a simpler alternative to the pot. Using this method, it is easy to add weight as your skill progresses. Also, you can use the same tool for multiple exercises. However, any sort of weight that can be added gradually will be sufficient. Shaolin monks used to practice this exercise while standing on top of 6-foot-tall wooden posts known as plum flower poles. This would test their balance and horse stance and increase the length of the tether. As with most Chinese skills, plum flower pole training begins small by standing on bricks and gradually increases to the 6-foot poles. According to legend, there once lived an old scholar who wished to practice calligraphy, but his hand was unsteady. As part of his training, he practiced with heavy calligraphy brushes cast from solid iron. Not only did he become a master calligrapher, he gained Qina skills. Once, he was encouraging a friend to stay for dinner. Without thinking, he grabbed his sleeve and effortlessly tore off the sleeve of his jacket by accident. This method uses a cylindrical piece of metal about 3.5 inches long and 1.5 inches in diameter. Brass is a better metal than iron since it is heavier and does not rust. Flattening the sides will prevent it from rolling and give a good purchase for your fingers. Here, the iron pen is being gripped incorrectly because the pads of the fingers are flat and the fingers are straight. This does not bring any power to the fingertips. In the correct grip, the tips of the fingers are pressing into the center of the iron pen. Press as if you were trying to make your thumbs meet in the very center of the iron pen. The thumb and the first two fingers form a circle when viewed from above. This method mirrors the strokes of a calligraphy brush. Using both your fingers and thumb, move the pen as if you were to draw a straight line. Next, make small circles as if drawing a circle. In both of these exercises, keep your forearm horizontal. The iron pen should not be so heavy that it strains the muscles immediately. It is the practice over long periods of time that will make this method effective. For balance training, use 2 iron pens simultaneously. Make small circles with both pens as in the single pen exercise. Circle both pens in a synchronized manner. Alternate between circling both pens in the same direction and in the opposite direction, as well as circling in and out. Raise and lower the pens one after the other. Iron pens are something that can be carried around as you go about your day. It does not require intense concentration, only practice over time. This method can be practiced while resting between workouts, talking on the phone, or even watching television. Frequently, practitioners would carry an iron pen everywhere as they went about their daily business. These pens were fashioned to look like a calligraphy brush with a pointed end, sometimes on both sides. This type of iron pen could serve as a discreet martial arts weapon, similar to many of the modern personal weapons used for self-defense. Iron pens were usually wielded in pairs with one in each hand. From its association to calligraphy, it is considered the weapon of scholars and gentlemen. This type of push-up has many different names. In Chinese martial arts, it is usually known as the iron lying tiger. It is also known as tiger push-ups and iron ox plows the field. In the practice of yoga asanas, it is a variation on a basic routine known as a sun salutation. It is a common training method that can build both strength and flexibility. Begin by making an inverted V with your body. Bend your arms to bring your chest as close to the ground as possible without touching it. Raise your shoulders up while bringing your hips close to the floor between your hands. When in the V position, make your arms, torso, and legs as straight as possible so there is a straight line between your hands and hips and feet. There are many variations on the lying tiger push-up. Many martial artists practice on their fists to harden their hands and strengthen their wrist. For Qi-Na, it is best to practice on the fingertips. Just as in many of the previous exercises, stay on the tips of your fingers as opposed to the pads. Begin on all 5 fingers, then gradually lift up your 2 smallest fingers as you develop more strength. Although some practitioners progress to a 2-finger or 1-finger push-up, 3 fingers are sufficient for Qi-Na applications. The centipede is considered one of the 5 poisons in Chinese folklore. This group also includes scorpions, spiders, toads, and vipers. The word for centipede literally means hairy worm in reference to its many feet. In this exercise, the centipede feet are metaphors for your fingertips. This training method is a variation of clapping push-ups. Push up vigorously, lifting your whole body as high off the ground as you can. You will have more time to clap your hands if you can generate more air time. Keep your body as straight as possible. At first, it is best to practice over a mat or similar soft floor. This will absorb some initial impact on your wrist and soften any falls you might have while you're learning. When you feel confident about these push-ups, change your palms to your fingertips. As your skill increases, raise your smallest fingers until you are jumping on 3 fingers per hand. As in the lying tiger push-ups, 3 fingers is the most appropriate sum of fingers for China applications. These fingers are the most crucial for a penetrating grip. Some practitioners can achieve 1-finger push-ups in one leg. Other possible variations include leaping so that your entire body moves forwards and backwards and side to side, or jumping so that your body pivots in a circle both clockwise and counterclockwise. Stay on the tips of your fingers as opposed to the pads. Progress slowly and patiently, do not strain yourself. It is better to do a few push-ups every day than many every once in a while. These balls are named after their place of origin, Baling City in Hebei Province. According to legend, walnuts were first used for these exercises in the Han Dynasty around 2,000 years ago. Baling balls were developed by the 10th century in Sung Dynasty and rose to their highest notoriety during the Ming Dynasty. Once used as a throwing weapon, Baling balls are becoming more popular in the United States as a method to increase dexterity and promote better health. Here, the Baling balls are spun inconsistently. Sometimes they touch, sometimes they do not. This causes a noticeable clacking sound, which can be indicative of an incorrect spinning technique. When the Baling balls are rotated properly, they remain in constant contact. Squeeze the balls together with your hand, rotating them smoothly and evenly. This may produce a light scratching sound. Alternate the direction of your spin from clockwise to counterclockwise. The most common exercise is spinning Baling balls as some part of your daily routine, similar to the iron pen. Throughout China and Hong Kong, it is not uncommon to see people practicing this art as they go about their daily business. For martial arts practice, Baling balls are spun in a horse stance with the arm extended at head level. This makes the exercise more challenging. Start with small balls and gradually progress to a larger, heavier size. Some practitioners will use 3 or 4 small balls in each hand. For two-handed practice, stare straight ahead while holding both arms at the edge of your peripheral vision. Baling balls come in a variety of materials ranging from metal, jade, marble, and cloisonne. They are often decorated with fantastical designs and frequently conceal a bell or chime. For Qinna training, it is best to use the solid metal balls, since they are the heaviest and most durable. This is one of today's common training tools. There are many variations on this design, however, they are all fundamentally the same. While these are more oriented towards modern sports, they can still be useful for Qinna using the principles of traditional methods. This is the common method of training for sports that use equipment with a handle like a racket. While this may improve your grip strength for those activities, it is not the best method for Qinna. Gripping the device in this manner brings more work to your most crucial 3 fingers. Use your fingertips more than the pads of your fingers. By generalizing the training principles, you can bring Qinna training into your daily routine.